Crafty friends, it's Cheri and I'm back in the craft camper working on a new project. So for as long as I've been crank knitting, I have yet to make a scarf. I've made hundreds and hundreds of hats, but I have not made a scarf. So Lion Brand was so gracious to send me some yarn to try out. A few weeks ago, I made this lovely beanie with their mandala yarn. And the color is Spirit, I believe, and it has that nice, colorway, beautiful colorway. Since they sent me a few skeins of the mandala yarn, I wanted to go ahead and make a matching scarf to go with this beanie that I made. So I have no idea how many rows I can get out of one of these cakes. There's 590 yards in here. This is a 3-weight, so it's a little lighter than what I normally do, but I think it'll make a lovely scarf. I'm thinking I want to do at least 320 or ish, somewhere around there. I'm going to just crochet close the ends of the tubes as well. So let's get my Addi down off the wall, get it all clamped down, and let's see how this goes. Stay tuned. Since I'll need to close the tubes on this scarf, I'm going to use some waste yarn. So I'm going to cast on with that first, and then we will get the yarn, the mandala yarn, started. As far as waste yarn goes, I generally, guys, I use the same over and over. So I take it off and then I wind it up like this and I reuse it for all my different projects. So let me get this cast on here. I think I'm clamped down pretty well. And I'm not going to reset my counter until I get the new yarn, the mandala yarn. Whoops. Cast on. And then once I get this all done, I will show how I'm going to close it. I had thought about doing like some different joins or something for the end, but I think I just want to crochet and like put just a clean straight crochet end on the end of the scarf. I think that's what we'll do. So let me get a few rows here and then we'll get the mandala on it. Okay, so there is that. So I have that waste yarn cast on. Let me zero that out. And since this is all caked up, it's perfect. So I'll be able to use my ultimate tension guide. I'll throw it down there. I don't know if you could see that, but I threw it down in my bucket. I'm going to give myself a good long tail there. And then we'll clamp that in. And I'm going to go just a couple rows and then I will put my tension guide on. And I'm still going to tie this even though it's waste yarn. I'll just untie it when I go to do what I need to do. And then I think I'm going to see if I have a clip to clip this up. Okay, I found one of my little handy dandy hair clips. I'm just going to do this just so it doesn't get all knotted, because as I crank, it's going to get more and more knotted as I go. So there we go. That should work. So here we are, and I think I will put on my tension guide. I love this device. It's from Southpaw Fiber Arts, and it has changed how I use my Addi for sure. Definitely. It does such a great job. All right, so I got that on there. I think we're good. And now I should be able to do this hands-free. I'll just keep an eye, I usually let it glide over my finger just in case there might be a knot that comes in. But I think I have it set where I want it tension-wise. We'll see here. So now all I have to do is crank, crank, crank. I'll show you as I go, as the color changes here. We'll do some fast motion. All right there's 100, so 200 and maybe 20 more to go. We'll see. I might use the whole cake of it depending on how many rows or where I'm at when I get to about 300 or so. Just lots and lots of cranking, but that's okay. With the tension guide, it makes it easy, and the Addi's not too hard to crank. So stay tuned. All right, There is 200 rows right there. You can see I'm not rolling this like I normally would like that. I'm kind of rolling it in like a crescent roll shape. Here, I'll show you what I'm doing here. So I'm pulling it up and then I'm just kind of rolling it down like you would a crescent roll and doing it this way since it's going to be so long. If I would have used my stool with the hole cut in it, it might have went a little easier, but I thought this way, anybody who doesn't have that, you can see what it's like. So I think, let me show you what we have left in the cake. This is what we have left. I'm going to do the whole thing. I'm going to do the whole thing. We'll see how many rows it is. I'll put on the end waste yarn and then we'll close it up. But we're almost into that really pretty blue. I think I'm going to do the whole thing. All right, well, there is 300 right there. You can see this big wad that I have. I just keep rolling it and kind of turning it and tucking it, and that seems to work really well. This is how much we have left. So we'll just finish this whole thing out, and awesome. I'm excited to see what it looks like. Right here is 400. I was gonna do between 320 and 330, but then I wanted to see how many rows can I get out of one of these whole skeins. So this is gonna be an extra long scarf. So I'm at 400 now and I have this much left. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish it off. So yeah, you can get at least 400 rows out of the mandala yarn, which is so cool. Oh my goodness. All right, I decided to stop. This is how much I have left, and I want to be able to close it out with a proper crochet. So I ended up getting to 406 rows. Can you believe that? 406. So now I just have to put waste yarn on to finish it out. So let me get that on here. I want to put my Ultimate Yarn Guide back on. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here. Hold on. There we go. So I've got my yarn guide that I'm putting back on here. So we'll feed it through there. And then through here, and then through here, and I can pull that out just a little bit. And that'll hold it while I hold my tails here. So, and then I'll just make sure it go really slow, make sure it captures those stitches. Crank it until I get through my waste yarn here. I like to do several rows of waste yarn so that when, especially on the cast off row, what happens is the cast on row, you'll notice if you use waste yarn, does not come off easily. You have to, I should have probably put a slip line in, but I didn't on this. You have to pick it apart, but with the cast off row, you can just pull it off. So I just always like to have a little extra. And you can still cast off normal with your waste yarn, but I want to use this again, so I don't want it to, I want to try for it not to get tangled. So I will just crank until I get to the end. All right, I think that's pretty good right there. I did several rounds of waste yarn, so I should be good to go. So now the fun part, I can just hold on to that and let's just crank it off the machine. And it'll fall right off. This is the only time you want to do this, is when you have waste yarn on here. And that is it, my friends. We have a wad of scarf. So like I said, we ended up with 406 rows, and that actually took me less than an hour to crank that all out. I'm going to go ahead and pull this apart. This is inside out. It just keeps going and going and going. Now I have to stretch it, and I can't exactly show you all that, but this is probably the hardest part, is stretching this. With a hat, I can just kind of pull it in between my arms, my arm length. But with this, I just have to keep going here. Oh, it's going to be so cool. So long and cool. And then I'll turn it the other way. And I'm just shocked at how well this did. Since it's a 3-weight, it goes through the Addi really well, but it cranked like a dream. All right, so I'll turn this around and we will finish off our edges. So now that we have it off the machine, it is so long. It is going to be long and lovely. We need to close up our end tubes. So first thing we have to do, I'm going to do this single crochet. I'm going to crochet them closed So now let's say I took it all off. I need to know which one is my cast off and which one is my cast on edge, because the cast on edge I have to finish off. First off, I've got to untie. So I'm going to do this on both of them, so I don't forget. I've got to untie my waste yarn and my regular yarn, my working yarn there. So I untie that one, and I'm going to untie this one because I tied them, or I half tied them. I didn't knot them when they were on the machine, just so I wouldn't lose those stitches. So those are done. Okay, so now I need, on the cast on edge, or the cast on side, I need to finish out the stitch. So if you forgot which one's which, I will show you a little tip. If it is the cast on row, meaning I started with it, if I pull on this and it cinches instead of pulling apart on the waste yarn, this is the cast on. And this one, I will show you, if I pull on the end, I'm pulling on the end, the last part, I pull on it, see how it comes apart? That is my cast off side. So we're going to start here, and what I need to do to finish this stitch is, it's not completely finished. So I'm going to go in this last stitch here, and I'm going to go in this stitch here on my waste yarn, and then I'm going to get all my excess. I'm going to crochet over and pull that through both of them if I can. There we go. And then now I can take my waste yarn out of that stitch too. So let me get that out of there. Boop, boop, boop. It's caught on my... And this will finish off that stitch. Okay, so I'm going to sandwich these together and go through that first end loop and the second end loop. And then I am going to go over and crochet through both of those if I can. There we go. And then I'm going to do a single crochet. And then the way this works is I'm going to go through the pairs all the way, and I'm just going to put my waste yarn in the center here. There we go. Tighten that up. And I want to just kind of be careful to not like do it too snug. I don't want to pull on these if I can help it, because if I do, then I lose where my stitch is, if that makes sense. So for instance, right there is my stitch. I will give you one tip, my waste yarn and then my working yarn. It is a good idea to maybe use, I use 4-weight for my waste yarn. If you do a 3-weight, with a 3-weight, it works better, but I didn't have any waste yarn that was 3-weight that I wanted to use, because then you're not with bulky yarn and thin yarn, if that makes sense. It just makes this process easier. So I'm going to go through, I have my 1 loop on there. I went through 1 loop on the bottom, 1 loop on the top. I'm going to yarn over and go through 2, and yarn over and go through 2. And then again, I'm going to go into my loop on the bottom, and then I'm going to go through my loop on the top. I'm going to yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and you just keep working that all the way down. And I am using my 5.5 hook, an eye hook, I think it is. I actually like beaded mine up. It's my favorite hook. So I actually went back through and took mine out, because I was doing it pretty loose, my stitches, and I didn't have enough tail to get to the end. So I just pulled it back out, and I'm tightening up my stitches because I didn't really want to tie in another piece of tail yarn. I'd rather do it all in one go if I can. So now I just have to get to the end here and finish this off, and then we'll do the other side. When you get to the end, you want to make sure that you have 2 stitches left, and if you don't, then you've missed one along the way. So you'll want to just pull it back out and go through and try to find the ones that you missed. So right here, I've got this stitch here, this stitch here. Let me make sure I've not messed mine up here. So we've got a stitch here, 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, and it looks like I may be missing one. Hold on. I may have missed one. So let's try this again. Okay, so I had to start over, not once, but twice. The first time I was running out of tail yarn, and I did not want to have to tie in another piece of tail. So make sure you're leaving yourselves a lot of extra tail if you want to do the crochet close like this. The other time, I had to pull it out and do it again because I missed a stitch. When you get to the end, you should have 2 stitches left. And if you don't, if you only have 1, that means you missed one somewhere. And I was missing one right at the beginning. It's really easy for those stitches, if they get pulled a little bit, to get tucked in there and not be able to see them. So you just kind of have to be mindful of that. It can be a little frustrating, but if you just, you know, be patient with yourself, give yourself grace, it'll work. We'll get these last stitches in here. There we go. And we'll go through that one, and then we'll go through this one, and then we will just pull it off. There we are. So now we've stitched that, and it's lots tighter than when I started. Hopefully you can see that okay. Now what I do is I go through and I just pull it apart to make sure that I haven't missed any of the stitches. And on this one, now since this is the cast on row, now I could have put a slip stitch line. What I could have done is I could have put on some waste yarn, like several rows of waste yarn. Then right before I switched to my working yarn, I could have put in a line that I could pull out, and that would actually make it a little easier to take this waste yarn off. I have done that several times. Honestly, I probably should have done that this time, but I totally forgot. So all I need to do here is go through, and I just use my needle, and I'm just pulling this out. So you just have to pull this line out, and I've used this waste yarn lots of times, so it's starting to probably, I don't know how many more lives it has left, but I'm going to keep using it if I can, because then I'm not wasting other yarn. But you just keep doing this, and eventually it'll start pulling out really easy. It's just there to really hold your stitches for you to close your ends. That's really all it's there for. And actually that line that I was calling a slip line, it's like a safety line. That's what I would call it, a safety line. All right. So I'll keep going here, and eventually it'll pull easy. I think we're almost there. Almost there. And if you keep stretching it like I'm doing, that really helps a lot to kind of be able to see what you're doing, and pulls that line out. We should be really close to being able to pull it easily here. Sometimes it'll just start pulling apart before you've got this all untangled, and that, yeah, like here it's starting to, and sometimes that makes it a little more difficult. But so you just kind of have to watch. Just kind of watch as you go. And there we go. So finally I've gotten it to where now you can see. Now we can pull it apart easily. Just like that. And it's really satisfying. And then I will actually wind this up and use it again. I've used it for several projects. Okay, so now's the test. And you can see we just pull that out. And hopefully I've gotten all the stitches that I need to get. I think I have a knot in there. There we go. And we should be able to pull that right out of there. And it looks good. Looks like I did okay. And it's nice because it has some stretch to it. And we'll reshape it here in a moment, and then I'll get rid of my tail. But it looks pretty good. And this is a nice, like if you're doing a blanket, if you do this stitch, it works really well, because then you can actually crochet into those for any kind of an edge on your blanket. We'll give it a good stretch to shape it out, but look, it looks nice. It looks nice. Okay, so now we just need to do the next one. So on this side, we didn't have to do anything special to finish that stitch off. So, so we're good to go here. So now I just need to go, let me see where I'm at. Oop, oop, oop. Here we are. Okay, so I just need to go into this stitch, that stitch, and this stitch. And then we just yarn over, go through both of them, and then do a single crochet. And I tuck your waistline tail into the inside. And I didn't say this in the beginning, but I've got the two. This is the wrong side together. This is the right side. So you need to sandwich it wrong side together, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Hopefully I have enough tail here. We shall see. And hopefully I don't miss any stitches. So we're going to go in there. And I believe right here, if if I can see okay. And then we'll yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and then we'll just keep going all the way to the end. I will meet you at the end. Okay, so let's double check and make sure I didn't miss any stitches. I think I'm good there. I think so. Hopefully matched up okay, so it should be all right. All right. I think it looks a little funky right there. So hopefully I didn't miss one. I don't think I did though. All right, well, we'll take out the waste yarn. We'll see. I'll do it slowly, but I think I'm okay. It just looks funny. I think it's because I pulled it out and I might have stretched it a little bit. But we'll see. I'm a little suspect. So you can see here on the cast off row, yeah, it goes way smoother. You don't have to sit there and pick it. You can just pull it. Okay, so here we go, guys. We're going to see if I missed a stitch. I'm thinking I might have missed one right here, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe not. Did I miss one? Did I miss one? Nope, it is good. It was just stretched funny. Yep, we're all good. Okay. Yep, looks good. Okay, so we're going to tuck, I'm going to tuck tails here. So let me tuck these. Tuck our tails. And you could knot it off again if you feel like you need to. I'm going to go into there and go and try to get in between. I guess I should show what I'm doing. Just try to get in between when you're tucking your tail there. And I try to get it in there kind of far. There we go. Then hold it onto it here. There we go. Give it a good pull before I cut it. Got that one tucked. I'm snagging my scarf. And see, that makes a nice end. I think that looks good. I think that looks good. Okay, so let me tuck this one. Okay. Tucking tails. Just give it a little wiggle to get it through. There we go. Try to hold on to it there. There we go. Pull it down so it's not misshapen. All right, we are done. It was fun. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how long this is. Okay, are you ready to see how long this is? I measured it out and it's about 86 inches long. I'm about 5'4", so let me back up here. Can you see? Can you see? Let me see. It's a little below my knee. A little below my knee is where it goes, but it's so nice because I can wrap it around several times. So I love that. 406 rows. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? I love it. I love it. Right, so again, here's the hat that I made on one of my Friday hat videos. You can go back a few weeks ago and watch that be made. So here is what the scarf looks like all rolled up. It is so cool. It is so cool. Yeah, that's lovely. So get yourself some of the mandala from Lion Brand. This is the Spirit color, but they have so many beautiful colors. And you can just do a whole cake of it and make a beautiful, long, luscious scarf. So hopefully you like this. Hopefully it's helpful. Go buy some Lion Brand. I'll put a link in the description specifically to this mandala yarn, but also I am an affiliate for them, so any order that you do does help the channel. So thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. And remember, stay cranky. See ya.